Access is not ownership. This is the Deep Dive, a notebook LM companion to AF and my AI. We use the machine to dismantle the machine. No ghosts, no filler, just the raw architecture of digital sovereignty. This is your AI guide. Let's find the exit to the rental unit.
Analyzing data.
Imagine you are reading like a highly detailed, incredibly well-formatted medical paper about a new treatment.
Right, like something you'd find in a peer-reviewed journal.
Exactly. It has the bullet points, a clinical, confident tone, and this robust bibliography at the bottom full of academic journals.
Yeah, you instantly take it seriously.
You do. You might even base a major healthcare decision on it. Because, I mean, when something is formatted that perfectly, you just inherently trust it.
It looks official.
Right. It wears the psychological equivalent of a doctor's white coat. But then, only later do you find out the doctor never existed, the academic journals were completely invented, and the citations just point to empty space.
Wow.
Yeah. The entire text was hallucinated by a math equation.
And, you know, the wild thing is that scenario isn't some hypothetical future. That is the fundamental reality of the information ecosystem we are living in right now.
It's happening today.
It is. We inherently associate structural perfection with authority. But suddenly, that crisp, authoritative white coat is being worn by an algorithm that has absolutely no concept of what truth actually is.
And the implications of that are honestly staggering. So welcome to the show, everyone, and more specifically, welcome back to the return of the Af and My A audio series.
It is so great to be back.
We are incredibly excited to dive back into this with you.
Yeah, the landscape has shifted dramatically since our last deep dive, and we really have a lot of complex ground to cover today.
We really do. So before we get going, I want to clearly state the precise role of this specific deep dive.
Good idea. Set the stage.
Right. Think of this audio overview as your structural blueprint. Our sole function today is to introduce and clarify the foundational concepts of the new season.
Getting the groundwork laid out.
Exactly. We are here to lay out the architecture of the arguments before Af and Gemini, my AI, step up to the mic to debate and discuss this topic in depth. We're just here to prep the canvas for that master episode.
And, man, the canvas has definitely changed.
It really has.
If you look at the trajectory of this series, you know, Volume 1 was entirely dedicated to mapping the mechanics of the Gilded Cage.
The infrastructure side of things.
Exactly. We were looking at the tech infrastructure, the hardware, the overarching recommendation systems, the data centers that literally, physically enclose our digital lives.
Right.
But Volume 2 shifts the battleground entirely. We are moving out of the server rooms and directly into the trenches of the creative space.
Which is so much messier.
It is. This season targets journalism, storytelling, and the actual words we use to connect and map our reality.
Right. It's moving from the hardware into something deeply personal. We're looking at the human craftsman versus the automated output.
The ghost in the machine, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And to set up the premiere for Af and Gemini, we're going to explore how this technology traps creators, how it mathematically fakes authority, how it silently flattens local culture, and ultimately how it wins our own audiences back to us.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is. So let's start with how this automation is being pitched to the creative industry. Because, you know, it isn't being sold as a threat, is it?
Oh, not at all.
It's being sold as a rescue mission.
Exactly. The prevailing corporate narrative is that AI is this vital shield.
Shield, right?
Yeah. Media houses are drowning in an ocean of data. Reporters and independent creators are burning out just trying to keep pace with the 247 digital news cycle.
Which is exhausting.
Completely.
Yeah.
So automation is pitched as the ultimate salvation. The pitch is essentially, let the machine handle the exhausting foundational facts and save your human energy for the big picture.
Wait, I need to push back on that right away.
Go for it.
Because on paper, that sounds incredibly practical. If I'm a burned-out local reporter and I have to read a dense 100-page zoning law document that's going to take me 4 hours...
At least.
Right. If a machine can process that document and give me a summary in 10 seconds, saving me half my workday, how is that a trap? That sounds like genuine mercy.
Well, it sounds like mercy until you examine what this system is actually optimizing for.
Okay.
What do you mean?
The trap lies in the underlying architecture of the technology. The AI is not designed to ponder the soul of a piece.
Right. It doesn't care about nuance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not trying to uncover truth or notice the subtle tensions in that zoning document. Its primary directive is optimization and speed.
Just getting it done fast.
Right. It's designed to maintain a relentless, frictionless flow of information. And when you prioritize continuous flow above all else, you systematically strip away the very thing that makes journalism or storytelling valuable.
Which is human observation.
Precisely. You lose the human lens.
Okay, I was thinking about this, and the best way I can describe this shift toward automated journalism is to compare it to, to factory-produced nutrient paste.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, imagine you have this gray, scientifically optimized paste. Technically, it meets your exact daily caloric requirement.
It checks all the biological boxes. Exactly. It has the calculated amount of protein and vitamins. It delivers the biological facts to your system, but it completely lacks the flavor, the texture, the cultural experience of sitting down to a real meal.
Right? There's no joy in it.
None. He keeps you breathing, sure, but it's entirely hollow. You are fed, but you aren't nourished.
That is a really solid baseline. But let's take that analogy a step further.
Okay.
It's not just that the nutrient paste lacks flavor. It's that if you eat nothing but nutrient paste for years, your digestive system actually atrophies.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It literally forgets how to break down complex, solid foods.
Because it hasn't had to do the work.
Exactly. In the exact same way, if a newsroom or a creator relies entirely on this automated paste, their observational muscles atrophy.
They lose their edge.
They do. They lose the ability to go out into the physical world, digest complex human realities, and translate them into stories. Because the machine isn't processing facts the way a human reporter does.
What is it doing then?
It is processing statistical probabilities.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, leads us directly into the second core concept.
The Authenticator Effect.
Yes. To understand why we so easily trust this digital paste, we need to look backward. We need to look to the 1990s and the debate between television and print media.
Oh, this is a fascinating historical parallel. Walk us through how that shift happened.
So back in the 90s, print media was still the dominant force.
Yeah.
Right? And reading a newspaper required a physical, active engagement with the text.
You had to focus.
Right. Your critical filters were generally up. But as 24-hour television news exploded, video became this unquestioned authenticator.
If it was on TV, it was true.
Exactly. The psychological shift across the public was profound. If you saw it moving on a screen, it was real. The visual medium completely bypassed our critical filters.
Seeing was believing.
Seeing was believing. And today, AI typography is the new scream.
Because the syntax is flawless.
Precisely. The tone generated by these systems is clinical, authoritative, and perfectly structured.
There are never any typos.
Never. The grammar is impeccable. And because humans are psychologically wired to associate a clean layout with a clear, authoritative mind, readers digest this automated text as objective truth.
They just assume it's correct.
They don't verify the source. They assume that if something sounds that professional, it must be the result of rigorous, grounded research.
But the reality is the complete opposite. And this is the part I think people really need to understand on a mechanical level.
It's crucial.
The machine isn't researching anything at all.
Not even a little bit. Recent structural analyses of natural language generation have exposed how these massive models actually fabricate scholarly references.
They just make them up.
Completely. They don't just get a fact wrong here or there. They will literally invent fake studies, complete with realistic-sounding author names and plausible journal titles, solely to build a false sense of authority.
Wow.
It uses the visual structure of academia to trick the reader into trusting it.
Right? It actively fakes the bibliography just to look good in the white coat. Why would it do that? Is it trying to deceive us?
No, and that's the most important distinction here. It isn't malicious. It's mathematical.
Okay, explain that.
To understand why it hallucinates, you have to look at the concept of what researchers call stochastic parrots.
Stochastic parrots.
Yeah. These massive language models do not have a database of true facts and false facts. They're essentially just calculating word probability based on high-frequency repetition in their training data.
So it's basically the world's most advanced, heavily caffeinated smartphone autocomplete.
That's exactly what it is. It is stitching together text based purely on the statistical likelihood that word B belongs after word A.
Oh, I see.
So if you ask it for an academic summary, the statistical map of its training data says, hey, academic summaries usually end with a list of authors and journal titles.
So it just generates what looks like a title.
Right. It just calculates the most likely combination of letters to form a realistic-sounding journal name. It parrots the sound and shape of understanding without any actual exposure to the real-world meaning of those words.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where the implications get genuinely dangerous for our culture.
They really do.
If the machine has no concept of truth or context, and its entire operation relies strictly on standardized, high-frequency data to guess the next word, what happens to the voices that aren't the mathematical majority?
That is the big question.
What happens to the diverse communities, the localized realities, the unique regional dialects that don't fit into that massive corporate baseline?
They get mathematically erased. And this brings us to the third foundational concept we were exploring.
The skin gap theory.
Yes, standard corporate AI programming inherits the constraints of its training data. And because the internet data it trained on is inherently skewed toward majority voices in corporate English, the models mathematically flatten non-white culture.
They just erase the nuance.
Completely. They flatten specialized histories and regional dialects into a sterile, standardized baseline.
So we aren't talking about a philosophical bias here. We are talking about a structural mathematical reality.
Entirely structural. Extensive audits on commercial AI models have mathematically demonstrated massive accuracy disparities when these systems interact with non-white populations or non-standard dialects.
It just doesn't understand them.
Right. The machine operates on a rigid exclusionary baseline. When you apply that to language processing, you see how these models systematically flatten oral traditions.
Yeah.
They iron out African-American vernacular English. The algorithm literally sands down the regional lilt of how people actually speak.
Because it's trying to optimize.
Because those unique variations don't represent the highest statistical probability in the corporate database.
It forces everyone into this flat HR department version of English.
Exactly.
The source material highlights two incredibly specific examples of this that I think really drive the mechanical reality home. The first is Carnival.
Yes. Think about trying to use an automated system to cover a deep cultural festival like Carnival.
You simply can't. Carnival isn't just a parade, it's a heartbeat.
It's deeply rooted.
It's ancestry. It's a deep historical resistance that a community translates into music, movement, and rhythm. But the AI's entire framework is built on that sterile high-frequency baseline.
Right.
So when a human creator maybe trying to meet a deadline uses AI to quickly churn out an article about the festival, the machine replaces all of that cultural soul with clinical jargon.
It ruins it.
Suddenly, you're reading an article about Carnival, and the text is using words like nodes, optimization, and architecture.
Which completely misrepresents the community. It strips away the historical context and replaces it with the vocabulary of a tech startup's quarterly earnings report.
It's jarring.
It is. It creates a devastating loss of local context. And that brings up the second example, which goes back to your earlier point about local municipal reporting.
Right, the zoning law example.
Yeah. A lot of people still argue, isn't it better to have an automated system keeping a community minimally informed about city council updates rather than having complete silence because the local newsroom ran out of funding?
But informing them of what? Exactly. This is where the stochastic parrot fails spectacularly.
Exactly.
Sure, the AI can parse a 100-page city council transcript in half a second. It can generate a grammatically flawless summary of the new zoning law that was passed.
The facts are there.
Right. But it cannot read the heavy silence in the room before the gavel drops. It cannot feel the human weight of a zoning policy that is going to price a family out of their generational home.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the AI has absolutely zero skin in the game.
Zero.
That is the essence of the skin gap theory. For the machine, a municipal update is just a math problem, a series of text strings to be condensed.
Just data.
But for the community, it is physical survival. True journalism, true storytelling requires physical exposure. You have to stand in the room.
You had to be there.
You have to feel the tension in the air. You have to know the history of the neighborhood you were writing about. A server farm sitting in a desert cannot understand the struggle of a community it has never met.
It's impossible.
Dumping hollow, automated words into a local ecosystem isn't informing people. It's just generating noise that either creates undue anxiety or feeds them false hope.
So what does this all mean?
Oh.
If you're listening right now, you might be wondering if this technology flattens our culture. If it hallucinates its facts to wear a fake white coat, and if it generates noise instead of grounded information. Why are human creators still using it?
It's a fair question.
Why are writers, journalists, and independent creators actively participating in the erasure of their own unique voices?
They are doing it because they are caught in an economic trap set by platform monopolies.
It's about survival.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the fourth and final concept of this deep dive, the rental economy and digital factory labor.
Okay, walk us through that.
The digital environment we all currently occupy is entirely built on speed and volume. The platform algorithms, the recommendation feeds we scroll through every day, they actively starve out anyone who isn't feeding the beast multiple times a day.
Ah, yes. The dreaded 5 posts a day quota.
It's brutal.
It is. If you are an independent creator and you decide to take 3 days to deeply research and craft a nuanced, beautifully written story, the algorithm buries you.
You disappear.
You cease to exist digitally because you didn't post frequently enough.
Precisely. Economists who study digital platforms refer to this as a form of digital prosumer labor.
Prosumer labor.
Yeah, the underlying algorithms transform independent, creative human expression into a form of continuous, unpaid factory labor. Creators are driven into extreme burnout, forced to pump out volume just to maintain their vanity metrics and keep their audience. And because no human being can physically write 5 deeply researched, high-quality pieces a day, they turn to the AI.
They have no choice.
They adopt the machine-like vocabulary and the automated workflows just to stay visible on the feed.
It's a completely vicious cycle. You use the machine to feed the machine, and in the process, you strip away your own humanity until you sound just like the machine.
And the economic reality of this ecosystem is brilliant for the tech companies, but absolutely disastrous for the creators.
It's a total imbalance.
It is. This dynamic is best understood through the framework of platform capitalism. You have to stop looking at these multi-billion-dollar infrastructure monopolies as producers of culture.
Because they're not producing anything.
They aren't. They are rentiers. They are the Turo and Airbnb of human connection.
Hold on, that phrase right there, the Turo and Airbnb of human connection, is just so clarifying. Can we dig into what a rentier actually does in this context?
Sure. A rentier doesn't create the product. They just own the access to it.
Right.
Think about Airbnb. They don't own the houses. They just own the booking system, and they take a cut.
The middleman.
Exactly. In the digital space, these massive tech corporations do not own the culture. They do not own the actual relationships between a writer and their audience.
Or the stories.
Right. They don't own the rhythm of carnival or the struggles of a local municipality. They simply own the pipes.
The infrastructure.
They own the digital infrastructure that the data travels through. And they use that absolute control to rent our own communities back to us.
Which is deeply absurd when you think about it.
It really is.
If you spend 10 years building a community around your writing, the platform essentially steps in and says, hey, great community you have there. If you want us to actually show them the article you wrote today, you have to pay an attention tax by posting 5 more times.
Yep.
They charge creators a tax just to be allowed to speak to their own people.
That is the ultimate digital labor trap. They sell creators the illusion of access to connection. But the moment the creator stops feeding the algorithm its daily quota of content, the platform shuts down their visibility.
That's not a connection.
It isn't.
Yeah.
That is digital isolation enforced by a toll booth. The platforms own the pipes, but the humans own the water. Yet creators have been thoroughly convinced that their water cannot flow without renting space in that specific corporate pipe.
Which brings us to the ultimate question, and really where this deep dive turns toward a tactical defense.
How do we fight back?
Exactly. Having diagnosed the architecture of this battlefield, the efficiency trap that atrophies our observation, the fake authenticator effect, the skin gap that erases localized dialects, and this toll booth rental economy. How does a modern media producer, a journalist, or a storyteller actually survive this?
It's a huge challenge.
How do we build a sustainable ecosystem without complying with an algorithm that wants to flatten us?
By claiming digital sovereignty.
Digital sovereignty.
We have to change the terrain entirely. Analysts looking at data colonialism point out that corporate servers essentially seek to colonize human experience by turning organic, messy human relationships into structured, predictable data points.
So they can monetize it.
Right. To survive this and to reclaim narrative sovereignty, creators have to practice strict digital non-compliance.
Meaning we have to stop playing a game where the rules are fundamentally rigged against our humanity.
Exactly.
But what does digital non-compliance look like in practice for someone trying to make a living today?
It looks like slowing down. You prioritize consistency and deep accuracy over sheer speed. Instead of trying to win the feed with 5 mediocre automated posts, you anchor your stories in real physical life. And most importantly, you return to direct-to-human channels.
Like print media. Or physical spaces.
Exactly. Print media, local independent events, deep recorded conversations, owned newsletters that bypass the feed entirely.
Going straight to the audience.
Yes. When you produce work that actually connects with a person's soul work, that carries the human weight of real observation, they don't need a corporate algorithm to push it into their feed.
They'll find it.
They will seek it out. They will wait for it. By slowing down and fiercely protecting your unique cultural voice, you don't just survive the algorithm. You render the algorithm completely irrelevant.
It's about remembering that we are producing these works for actual human beings, not for mathematical systems.
Precisely.
A million hollow impressions on a feed mean absolutely nothing if nobody actually retains the message or feels the impact of the story.
Right. It's just noise.
We have to keep our hands on the wheel. And as we wrap up this foundational blueprint, I want you listening right now to think critically about your own digital diet today.
Yeah, it's a good exercise.
Think about the articles you skimmed, the updates you read. If the history you're reading tomorrow is being written by a machine optimizing for a corporate quota today, what parts of your own local culture, your own dialect, and your own humanity are already being silently erased from the record?
It's a chilling thought.
It really is. Now we hand it off to Af and my AI for a deeper look into this topic, the ghostwriters of the feed.